Welcome to City Farmers Nursery. This is Farmer Bill.
And I'm Sam.
And we're talking about composting. It's all about Bokashi, Sam.
So if you have any other questions about the other types of compost we talked about, which were heat and vermiculture, definitely check out the videos that are posted on that. But today we're talking about Bokashi. I'm really excited about this one. It's just something new that we're bringing on. It's been around for a while, but I feel like this is what's going to help us become zero waste here at the nursery, with the restaurant and our coffee cart.
And that's been our goal for years. Just it's tough to get everybody together on the property, which is 3 businesses and a couple residences, to really get to that point. And this is exciting for us and for all you to also be able to make everything that you have be useful in your garden.
Some of the reasons I'm really excited about Bokashi, one reason is it's not a lot of work. You look at heat composting, you got to turn that pile, you got to move them over. Bokashi, you put your stuff in there, you smush it down, and you let it sit. Vermiculture, you're dealing with live animals. I don't know if they're animals, but worms. And I would feel bad if I didn't feed them or if they dried out or something like that. So there's a little more upkeep with vermiculture. Whereas Bokashi, it's not even composting, it's actually
fermenting,
which is even cooler. So it's pretty much you're making pickles out of all your trash. Some things that really neat about it is you can go ahead and just about ferment, not compost, ferment just about anything. You can do bones, meat, cheese, manures.
Even oil and those types of things, cooking oil and stuff?
Not cooking oil.
Oh.
Everything but cooking oil, sorry. Oh. And then you can do human manure, just about everything it covers. And it also breaks everything down within about a month, maybe a month and a half, depending on the weather.
In the other composting methods, you have to figure out how much you're going to compost in order to get a proper size system. So
like we talked about in the other video about putting all your waste in a pile for about a month. This will tell you if Bokashi's right for you. I think if you have a ton, composting is a good way because you're going to have to get a lot of these bucket systems to go ahead and get things going. My household, there's 2 people. And 1 bucket we filled up in probably about 2 weeks. So I think about 4 buckets would keep us rolling for the month and a half.
Do you know what size these buckets are?
Yeah, so they're about a 5-gallon bucket. I'd like to play around with something a little bit larger. That might be something that we'll be looking at here because we have so much need for so much kind of distribution of our waste.
The thing about it is also taking raw waste, instead of putting out in a compost pile, you're putting it in an enclosed system, so you don't have to handle all the stuff that comes out of the kitchen and from your animals. You're actually letting these enzymes and bacteria work on it.
Yeah. So you'll find with the bucket systems that you Bokashi with, they are a sealed system, so you don't want to let air get in there. So you pretty much start off with your raw product, and then you're going to add inoculated grain. It's been inoculated with an enzyme. That's what breaks everything down, so you end up layering everything. I end up finding that at first I was putting too much of my waste in there and just a little bit of the grain, and it was starting to go a little funky on me. So what I did is I put a little grain, mixed it up, and then started layering about 1 inch of my waste, and then putting a good, probably 2 handfuls of the inoculant on top of it. Then I mush it down, and then I fill up my bucket. Once it's full, I let it sit. Another big thing that ended up happening with mine is a lot of the liquids started collecting, and I kind of forgot to drain it, but I ended up draining it, and I think I got about 3 coffee cups full, ended up being about. What's neat about that is nothing goes to waste. So you end up taking that and adding 50% water, mixing into all that Bokashi juice, and watering your plants with it.
Would it behoove you then, Sam, to go ahead and break up the stuff smaller to help the enzymes break it down more, or
yeah.
you have to?
So it's definitely recommended. Chopping things up. I'm actually trying to get in the habit of when I'm there cooking, everything gets chopped up. So that way I don't have a bucket of all my scraps that need to be broken down. Biggest thing is watermelon. It's summertime and everyone loves watermelon. That you have a lot of moisture, and I didn't really cut those up, but I found I had to drain my bucket off quite often. But also making sure you have that 50% wet and 50% dry matter going in there. With Bokashi, you do end up getting some smell off of it. It's not like you're composting where you just get kind of the heat of the smell. You still get a smell from it, but it's gonna be a little on the sweeter side because it is a fermenting.
Is this a system that you would have indoors all the time, or should it be kept outdoors? Should it be kept in the shade or the sun?
Actually, it works 2 ways. So if you do put it out in the sun, it does work. We're finding it does work a little faster, but you're gonna get a little more of the smell working because as things heat up, they off-gas and everything. So if you keep it in the shade, you can keep it in your house. It's a little slower to work, but that does work as well.
When you do open the bucket up, what are you supposed to be seeing that's going on so you know it's
Yeah.
working?
Yeah, so one thing you really like to see is that white mold that's growing. That's a healthy mold. If you start getting your greenish black molds, that means you don't have a healthy system. And usually what you want to do is dump that out maybe into your heat pile for composting and start over. A lot of that's caused by either too much moisture or too much air. So you want to make sure you keep it sealed up and drained. And also when you look in there, you want to see that there's enough of the brand covering all the veggies or any of the product you have in there.
This system will be able to be used for a lot more stuff than just regular composting and vermiculture, because you always have bones and you have dairy products and things that you cannot put in those systems.
Yeah.
So this will make it more useful and more versatile.
Yeah. So like your other types of composting, your heat or vermiculture, you're not supposed to use your meats or cheeses, even bones. You really wouldn't want to use in that. It just wouldn't break out. This does, but still with meat, you do want to cube it up a little smaller. If you have large bones, if you can break them, if chicken bones and stuff, it'll all get broken out. A lot of times after about 2 to 3 weeks, you can go ahead and dig a hole in your garden and dump all your product in there, your product out of your bucket, and then put about a foot of soil on top of it. And that way it's sealed off from the air. You don't have to worry about it. So if you don't want to keep a bunch of bucket systems, it's a mouthful, in your home, just having that one that you're ending up dumping after about 2 to 3 weeks, dumping it in the ground with that foot of soil.
So the ideal system then, Sam, would be to figure out how much you're going to create and how much you want to keep indoors, and then how frequently after a period of time you would go ahead and dump it into a hole in the ground or somewhere else where it can finish cooking down.
Yeah. And the neat thing with it is this actually can be used in apartments. I live in a small house. We don't have a yard or anything like that, but it works really well. And then I'm actually taking all the juices and throwing it on the lawn with some water and all the material I end up bringing here to using in our gardens. But yeah, it can pretty much work anywhere. So if you're in the city and in an apartment, you want to start being able to reuse your scraps and everything, this is a great way.
So that's all about Bokashi. This is Farmer Bill.
And Sam, definitely make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe down below for everything that you want to learn how to do in the heart of the city.
And come and visit us where you'll find supplies and everything you need for this at the bit of the country in the heart of the city.
Have fun fermenting.